At her house, Tinuke made dinner and served Ade together with a nice bottle of wine. Ade loved the wine, and though he was not one who took alcohol, he kept drinking it till he drank all of it. He got himself intoxicated and could not remember much when he woke up the next morning and saw himself. Once upon a time, there lived a young woman called Tinuke. Tinuke is beautiful, smart, and an easygoing woman. She was lovable and very accommodating. Tinuke lived in the city of Lagos and worked in the bank as a sales marketing representative. Tinuke has a colleague whose name is Ade. Beyond being colleagues, Ade and Tinuke were very good and close friends. They also work in the same department and their desks were next to each other. They go out for lunch breaks together and also leave the office together at the close of work every day. Their friendship and closeness made people begin to wonder if they were dating. "We are not dating. Tinuke is just my friend," Ade told another close friend and colleague of his called Deji, when Deji asked to know the relationship he shared with Tinuke. "I see Tinuke as my best friend and sister, and that is how she sees and takes me also. Nothing more," Ade explained to Deji when he inquired further. "Ade is my Jean now. We are just friends," Tinuke said also to one Miss Chinwe, another colleague of theirs, who also asked about her relationship with Ade. "I see him as a big brother and the brother I never had," Tinuke explained to Chinwe. Okay now. So it means I can shoot my shots then, and hopefully me and Ade would date," Chinwe said, teasing. "I don't think I want you as my sister-in-law," Tinuke said to Chinwe. "Why now? Am I not beautiful and good enough?" Chinwe asked. "No, you like money too much. I don't want you stressing my Ade, please. I don't want you stressing my brother for me," came Tinuke's reply. The two ladies laughed and walked out of the restroom where they were adjusting their dresses. One weekend, Tinuke had planned to work on some customers' files from home. So, she took them along with her that Friday when leaving work. However, she forgot them with Ade, who had helped her to carry them while they walked back home that evening. Tinuke only got to realize she did when she wanted to work on them that Saturday morning and could not find them in her bag. She called Ade and asked if he could bring the files to her. Ade agreed and said he was going to bring it to her at noon. That afternoon, Ade went over to Tinuke's house. Though he had escorted Tinuke to her house many times, he had never gotten into her apartment, as he usually turned around at the entrance of the compound. Ade stood at the door and pressed the doorbell button as he waited for Tinuke to answer the door. But when the door opened, it was not Tinuke who had answered the door, but another young, beautiful woman. "Hello, my name is Sade. I am here to see Tinuke. She forgot some documents with me, and I am here to return them. She's expecting me," Ade said to the young woman who had answered the door. "Hi Ade, I am Sade, Tinuke's cousin. She mentioned that you were coming. Please come in. I'll let her know that you are here now," the young lady said with a smile. Ade walked in but could not take his eyes off Sade. He realized that he liked her immediately. Sade is Tinuke's paternal cousin. A few years ago, Sade's parents died in an auto crash. Sade had just gotten into the university at the time. Tinuke's father took Sade in and became her guardian. And Tinuke became a big sister and friend to Sade. Sade studied nursing and had been in the city of Ibadan with her uncle and aunts, Tinuke's parents, until one of the hospitals she had applied for as a nurse in Lagos called her and offered her the job. So, Sade had moved to Lagos 3 months prior to this day and had been staying with her cousin Tinuke. Tinuke had mentioned to Ade in one of their discussions that her cousin was now living with her. So, Ade sat on the couch recalling that Tinuke had told him about Sade. "But you failed to mention to me that your cousin was such a beauty," Ade said to Tinuke as she saw him off after he had dropped the file. "I didn't have to spell that out to you now. Of course we are beautiful in our family. Can't you see that I am beautiful myself?" Tinuke replied. "Yeah, I agree. But Sade's beauty is on another level," Ade said. He told Tinuke that he would love to ask Sade out on a date if she was okay with it. Tinuke said she was okay with it, and Ade requested for Sade's mobile number, which Tinuke gave. Ade and Sade went out on multiple dates and started dating. On some of these dates, they requested Tinuke to join them. A few months down the line, Ade proposed to Sade and they got married. Married life was sweet to Ade, and though he had admitted that it was Sade's beauty that had initially attracted him to her, she was also a great person. She had an awesome personality, just like her cousin Tinuke. Sade was smart, easygoing, and also accommodating. She was sweet and also empathic, something that Ade loved mostly about her. A trait which the patients and everyone in the hospital where she works have also come to love about her. As mentioned earlier, marriage life was sweet for Ade until the 3rd month of their marriage, when Sade changed completely. Sade, who had been so neat, who dressed elegantly, wore nice perfumes, and ensured that she kept her skin glowing at all times, and who also always kept everything around her neat and tidy, suddenly became dirty. She stopped taking her baths and only did once in about every 4 days. She littered her clothes around the house and stopped doing the dishes. In the first 3 weeks, Ade brushed it off as her being tired and probably overwhelmed with work at her workplace. So, he filled in for her. He picked up the littered clothes after her, cleaned the dishes, and also cleaned the house himself. He believed that it was his duty to help his wife in her low moments, and told himself that she would come around soon and return to the sweet Sade he knew. But as the weeks progressed, Ade did not see any changes. Rather, Sade became worse. She stopped brushing her teeth, stopped using perfumes, and had not changed nor done her hair for months. The once sweet-smelling Sade was now oozing with so much bad body and mouth odor. She only managed to put herself together whenever she was going to work. Despite wearing dirty clothes and robes whenever she was at home, she took her uniform and scrubs to the dry cleaner. She chewed gum constantly whenever she was at work, and would splash water on her face and legs, and applied a little Vaseline cream to her legs once she gets to the hospital, so she appeared a bit neat at work. Though her colleagues could not help but noticed that her appearance had deteriorated and that she stopped wearing perfumes. "I think she might be pregnant," We all know that pregnancy can take a great toll on some women, one nurse said to two other nurses as they gossiped about Sade's deteriorated appearance. No, I don't think she's pregnant. She doesn't look pregnant to me. It could be the stress of being a newly married. She may be finding it difficult to adjust to married life, another nurse said. Or she may not be enjoying her marriage. It could be that her husband is not a nice person and is making life difficult for her, and she has only just found out, the third nurse among them said. No one could really tell what had gone wrong with Sade. At home, Ade tried to find out from his wife what the problem was. I am perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong with me. Please leave me alone, Sade snapped. Ade let her be and chose to give her some more time to come around from whatever it was that might be the problem. Then, after having a serious thought one day, Ade decided to hire a maid to clean and do other chores in the house. I think my wife must have been so overwhelmed with her new status as a wife and doing her job at the hospital at the same time, Ade thought to himself as he hired the maid. He blamed himself for not thinking about this on time, believing that could be the reason, but was happy that he finally thought of it and hoped that his wife would return back to her neat old self when she sees the efforts he has made by getting the maid. However, Sade still did not change. Instead, she grew worse by each day. Though the maid kept the house clean, Sade herself remained dirty, completely refusing to brush her teeth and only take a bath once only during her monthly flow. Soon, Sade could no longer even cover up her now so bad body and mouth odor at work, despite the many gums she chewed and the water she splashes on her face whenever she arrives at work. Patients and other staff began complaining about her looks, her body and mouth odor, as they could no longer stand it. The hospital management was forced to lay her off after trying to reason with her and giving her several warnings. Sade had loved her job so much, and Ade never forgot how passionately she spoke about it and the excitement on her face whenever she does so, especially in the days they courted. So, Ade had thought that being laid off from work would make Sade have a sober reflection and adjust. Rather, it worsened. Sade's hygiene went from 100 to 0. She stopped taking baths even during her monthly flow. She wore only robes from morning till night, and her hair was tattered and smelling as she stopped making or combing it and now constantly wore only hair bonnets. And though the maid tried to keep the appearance of the house neat and clean, the stench from Sade's body odor filled the entire house. And every time Ade tried to talk or reason with her, Sade would yell at him and ask him to let her be, and that nothing was wrong about how she has decided to live. Ade stopped sleeping in the bedroom they shared. The apartment was a 2-bedroom flat, and he had allowed the maid to occupy the other empty one when she came to work for them. He didn't want to ask her to leave the room, so he decided to begin sleeping on the couch in the living room. All of this affected his mood and productivity at work, and the once cheerful and hardworking Ade began slowly becoming a shadow of himself. His colleagues noticed this, but the majority of them couldn't approach him. Only Deji and Tinuke did, since they were his closest friends. Ade had thought of complaining to Tinuke about her cousin's behavior in the beginning, but he had discarded the idea as he did not like the idea of having a third party knowing what was going on in his home. He also considered it a disrespect to Sade, so he had kept it to himself all this while, though he was tempted on several occasions to complain to Tinuke because she was his friend and was also Sade's cousin. However, when Tinuke noticed that Ade was also now always reluctant to go home after work, and learned from the security guard that he stayed back after everyone had left and only left the office at night, Tinuke forced him to open up to her. And Ade eventually told Tinuke everything. "Why didn't you open up to me?" Tinuke asked after listening to Ade. "Because I had hoped that she would change and didn't think it would get to this," Ade replied. Tinuke followed Ade home that day to speak with her cousin, and immediately she entered the house, the stench that filled the entire house almost made her vomit. And even when the maid quickly sprayed an air freshener in the entire house, as Ade had instructed her to constantly do, Tinuke could still smell the stench. Tinuke tried to find out what was wrong with Sade and tried to reason with her. But Sade responded in the same way she did to Ade. "I am perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong with me. Please, you people should leave me alone," she snapped at Tinuke. Tinuke left without saying any more word. 2 days later after that day was a Friday, and as was now the usual for Ade, he was reluctant to go home. "You can come with me to my place instead of wasting hours in the office," Tinuke said to Ade at the close of work that day when she noticed his reluctance to go home. "I can make something nice for you to eat while we figure out together on how to help my cousin," Tinuke said. Ade thought it was such a good idea and immediately accepted the offer. At her house, Tinuke made dinner and served Ade together with a nice bottle of wine. Ade loved the wine, and though he was not one who took alcohol, he kept drinking it till he drank all of it. He got himself intoxicated and could not remember much when he woke up the next morning and saw himself half naked on the bed with Tinuke in his embrace and in Tinuke's bedroom. Shocked and embarrassed to find himself with Tinuke in such a position, Ade quickly tried to quietly leave. He tiptoed out of the bedroom, but just as he got to Tinuke's living room, Tinuke called out to him. She had woken up also and had come out and stood by the door which led to her bedroom. Ade felt more embarrassed when he faced Tinuke. He told her that he was sorry and that he could not remember anything after having so much wine, and told her that he also needed to rush back to his house. That was when Tinuke told him that they had had sexual intercourse the previous night. She told Ade that he was the one who had begged her to have sex with him. Ade noticed that as Tinuke said it, she said it boldly and without any form of fear or remorse. "Why did you agree? You shouldn't have agreed, even if I had asked you. I can sense that you are not bothered about this," Ade said. "And why should I be? Aren't we adults? Besides, it was consensual. You begged me to do it and I agreed," Tinuke replied. Ade was not happy about this. "I was drunk and you were sober. You should have stopped me. You are my wife's cousin, more like her sister. So this thing we have done is wrong," Ade said. "Well, wrong or not, I do not have any remorse about what we have done. I will do it again if the opportunity presents itself. Sade does not deserve you, Tinuke said. And just as she said those words, they heard loud bangs on the door and the voice of a woman shouting from outside and asking Tinuke to open the door. They listened carefully and soon realized that the woman outside was Sade. Tinuke, with boldness, opened the door and let Sade in. Sade told them that she overheard everything Tinuke said and so was aware that Tinuke slept with her husband. Bola, Sade's and Ade's maid, had been concerned about Sade's unimaginable dirty habits. She perceived within her that it was probably beyond the ordinary. So, though she constantly prayed for her madam, she decided to also bring it up with the pastor of the small local church she attends. After relating her madam's condition to her pastor, the pastor requested that he be allowed to pray for Sade. Bola, I tried to tell Ade about this and to seek for his permission to bring her pastor to the house to pray for Sade. But Ade had started returning home so late from work and was always in a foul mood. So, Bola couldn't find the right opportunity to tell him. One day, Bola summoned courage and approached Sade, seeking permission to bring her pastor to come pray for them. It is a new year, ma, and I would love to bring my pastor to come pray and bless the house, if you would permit me, Bola lied to Sade in order to convince her. Sade, who was unbothered about whatever goes on in the house, gave Bola the permission to bring her pastor to the house. So, on that day, the pastor had come and prayed, and when he prayed for Sade, mentioning her name, a spell was broken. The pastor revealed that Sade had been under a spell which caused her to start neglecting herself and her hygiene. Sade, who was now free from the spell as a result of the pastor's powerful prayer, inquired to know who had placed such spell on her. The pastor didn't say, however, but told Sade that she would find out soon. Sade had her bath and cleaned up afterwards when the pastor left. Then, she waited for her husband to return home so she would tell him what the pastor said. But Ade did not come home that night. Sade dialed Ade's mobile number all through that evening, and later when his number became switched off and unreachable, Sade tried calling Tinuke also to find out if she knew where Ade was, because Tinuke was her husband's colleague and friend. But Tinuke's number had also gone off after she tried it a few times. So, since it was the weekend and the bank wasn't open, Sade thought to go to Tinuke's house, as Tinuke was the closest person likely to know Ade's whereabouts. But when she got closer to Tinuke's door, she overheard them talking and paused to listen to all they were saying. And that was how she got to know that Tinuke and her husband spent the previous nights together. Well, Tinuke had seen Sade's calls. Ade, who had been too intoxicated, did not realize that his phone had been ringing. Tinuke had taken his phone and turned it off along with hers. "You do not deserve Ade. He was supposed to be mine. Mine," Tinuke said. "I have been in love with Ade and had hoped that one day he would realize my love for him and ask me out. But he never did. Instead, he asked you out barely the first day he met you and married you in a few months. And though I tried to forget about him and let go of the hurt I felt, I just couldn't bring myself to. So, I went to a prophet who helped me to cast a spell on you and make you become so dirty because I want you to be so undesirable to Ade. I knew he would come crying about you to me soon, and the opportunity presented itself yesterday. So, apart from the wine being alcohol already, I drugged it also, Tinuke confessed. Ade was shocked by Tinuke's confession. You have been in love with me? And you did this? Why didn't you open up about how you feel about me? You made me believe that you see me as nothing else other than a big brother to you, he said. Sade was furious with Tinuke after her confession and dashed at her in an attempt to attack her, but Ade stopped her. Anyway, Tinuke felt no remorse as Ade tried to beg and calm Sade down and eventually managed to convince her that they should leave Tinuke's apartment. Ade apologized to Sade when they got to their home. And Sade, though she realized that it was not entirely Ade's fault and that they had both been pawns in Tinuke's evil plots, still found it difficult to forgive him. She couldn't take away the thought of Ade cheating on her with her cousin. In the weeks that followed, Ade and Sade decided to go through therapy and counseling for the sake of making their marriage work again. Dutifully, they both attended every counseling session as they hoped and looked forward to having things in their marriage go back to normal again. The end. One lesson this story teaches us is that envy and unspoken feelings can lead to destruction. Tinuke's inability to communicate her feelings for Ade, coupled with her jealousy for Sade, led her to make destructive decisions. Instead of expressing her emotions or dealing with rejection maturely, she resorted to manipulation and deceit, which caused harm to everyone involved, including herself. I want us to know that it is important to address feelings openly and handle them in a healthy and mature manner. I hope you enjoyed this story and that you have learned a thing or two from it. I would love to know. Please share it in the comment box. Also give this video a like and share to your friends and loved ones. I'll see you in my next story. Bye.